Welcome to Fulk It, episode 25, end of season two. We're going to call this the end of our journey into influence campaigns online and how it intersects with AI. Recall that what we did was a thought experiment, a whiteboarding session, brainstorming, where we're kind of thinking about, you know what? Seems like there's a lot of media push for generative AI. Maybe they did a influence campaign online, a marketing campaign. And how could we effectively fight back given that we know these troll campaigns work? We've seen it over and over and over again. We talked about a paper that was recent that proved it in many ways, the effectiveness and how fast you can do this type of mood sentiment shift. So, in our thought experiment, we came up with a little strategy. It was all pretend. It wasn't real. We're not actually doing this, but we had two scenarios where we had a strategy with money and we had a strategy where we didn't have money. And we said we would do three things. One was apply a steady drumbeat of information favorable to us, favorable to generative AI not being a good technology. And two, we would go after influencers, people online who have big accounts, journalists. We set our big targets. They're easy to pay as well. But if we don't pay, what could we do? We could maybe try to do the subtle influence type of nudging to somebody like a Mark Cuban, who was our example. If you ever see this, Mark, which I seriously doubt, just know you're simply an example. And then we said we can take over search. Well, we take over search strategies so people go to Google or, they go to ChatGPT and they start typing, they see our stuff and they might see our academic papers. They might see our stories that we get published in step two, journalist stories, news articles, investigative reports, or they'll see our comments. We can just flood so many comments on certain places like X that they get indexed into the search and then they get discoverable, or Reddit. So that's it. That's our three-part strategy, and it's what we could do to really push. Now, will we be able to? I doubt it because of that whole money, no money problem. We have no money, so we need organic interest, which is tough to, gather steam on, and it would take a while. My guess is by the time we ever gain organic steam on this, it would be like the bubble's already popped, long gone. They're throwing so much money at it. It's going to come due next year for sure. And then the other thing, of course, would be if we did have money. Well, if we did have money, we could maybe go fast and get it done. But we're not. We're just kind of entertaining the notion. And today, to close it all out, we're going to talk about drumbeat a little bit because drumbeat's interesting. Because in all of these places online that people go to talk and AI comes up as a subject, which is pretty much all of them, we want to be, and we want to be interjecting our opinions. And to do that, we need accounts so they can be fake, they can be real, they can be paid for. We can get troll factories to help us. And we want to have some bullet points of, things that we say like, electric bill is too high. Generative AI data center is causing our electric bills to go high. And we just hammer that home and everywhere at the same time so that it takes over. And then people will develop counter arguments and we'll keep going. We'll have a list of things that are in our favor, like copyright laws. You scrape the internet to get this data. You should have paid the artists. You're killing artists' career. You're hurting our students. This is a big one, man. Education. Like you're not giving us any kind of way to educate our kids. You're pushing this stuff into schools and they're not using their brain and they're cheating with it. So this is bad. So we have a lot of good points on our side that we just had a coordinated comm strategy for online dissemination of these points. We could do it. And to that end, to coordinate a comm strategy in this kind of, environment online where we're disparate, where people are spread out, they have different interests, we need to get organized in a way that we could share the bullet points and talk about which ones to hit when. So some type of online channel, forum. So you could have a Slack channel, you could have a Discord, something. You could do like the effective altruist people did, just make a website with your forum and broadcast publicly what you're doing, and just count on not being obscure. But we could set up any of these forum online, whatever. Let's just say we did that one, and then we talk and we get people to join it, and we organize, and then when a story breaks, we say, look, this data center that's being built in this town here, let's go talk about this news article every time it gets published, everywhere we see it. We're just going to make sure we go in and hit our points so that our points show up near the top of the comments. That's it. But it would be nice to have a good content library as well. So having memes to share, videos to share, articles to share. Like I've seen several people critical to AI that have amassed a nice list of resources, especially academic resources where there's research and some rigor into the process. But we can put it all together. You can have memes, you can have stories that are good and impactful from trusted journalists, like sites, and even people's blogs are sometimes really good, but they all have a different place in this online ecosystem. Sometimes you just want a meme. Sometimes you just want to hit them with a meme. Sometimes you want a picture or cartoon, that's been drawn. And there's other times you want a longer form reporting, a longer story with more details. And that's it. That's what we do. And we just persistently beat that drum. You have to keep beating the drum, and it takes over. It wears paths in your brain. Season one, episode one, brain is a jungle. We all carve paths. And the more we carve that path to that word and that concept, the faster we get to it in our thought process, the more we trust it. It's just how our brains work. So that's it. We're going to close out season two of our influence campaigns. Primarily, we might come back to it because I can talk about this stuff forever, but it's boring in some ways. Other ways, it's really hard to convince people that they're being influenced. Like, people naturally seem to resist the idea. Like, no matter how many times I explain it, I think people would cut off their own left leg instead of admitting they got influenced. It takes time, years, decades, maybe. Maybe people like on their deathbed will finally think to themselves, "Oh, you know what? I remember that crazy guy Mike kept telling me that I was being influenced all the time, and I should choose my sources more carefully." And then they die. Maybe. I don't know. So we're gonna pivot, and I haven't exactly decided season three yet. It'll be coming out probably first of 2026. Some hints potentially. Our pivot to protect our brain. It'll all be underneath the same umbrella of Fulk It, protecting our brain, choosing good information. We'll see what 2026 brings. Fulk It.